Are you? Need afterwards.
We're ready.
You ready? I have 12:04, so if you will, we'll stand and we'll call the meeting to order. We do have a quorum present, so be sure to put that in the minutes. And we'll pledge allegiance to the national flag. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
State the flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. If you have anyone sign up for open forum, for public forum, who has the minute?
I guess
Public
Christian.
forum? Anybody sign up for public forum?
No.
No, okay. Consent agenda. Item A, previous minutes from Thursday, July 28th, 24th, July 24th. These were minutes we missed the last board meeting.
We just had that one board meeting and
Yeah.
that special board meeting. We did not approve the minutes during that meeting, so we put both of them on this agenda.
Right. So, and then the minutes for Tuesday's special board meeting on August 26th. They're on the consent agenda, so we can do that at one time. We can do one motion.
I make a motion.
Motion.
That we approve these minutes.
Motion by Dr. Swain to approve the minutes. Is that a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Humphrey, second by Mr. Humphrey. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Special program gifted and talented legal policy. We may be able to. We may be able to do the legal and local policy in one motion.
So basically what this is a process to identify and serve our GT students. And so the state has a process that you need to go through to report your GT students, and those GT students are coded in our PINs. And so what we're looking at now is this is both a legal and local policy, kind of looking at our steps that we're taking right now in our district. We took steps earlier in the summer. We have identified teachers to go and get GT certified. We're also working to have all of our GT teachers certified. So we've got a plan in place to kind of work through a timeline so teachers can work through an online system to be certified. So our goal is over the next 2 years that all of our staff are GT certified serving our students. Also, right now what we're looking at is TEA has a list of tests that we purchased to screen students, and so the directors have met with teachers to identify the students that the teachers recommend, and also we take recommendations from parents that wish to have their students screened. The test again has been identified and purchased, and we will basically work through a process of testing those students and then meeting as a committee to review those students' scores to determine if those students are labeled as GT or not. So that's kind of the process that we're taking right now, and looking at the process to serve those students as well, because it's not just about identifying them and testing them, it's how we are serving those students. And so that's something that we have to address at our level as well, because right now in our classrooms all of our students are together. We don't have a pull out to serve GT students, and so looking at opportunities for our GT students, things that come to mind is right now over the summer, and also available to our students is that they can take courses online and actually advance into higher grade level material than what the student is exposed to at their grade level. So if I'm a fifth grader and I want to take, maybe I have advanced in fifth grade math based off of performance in my classroom, then I could actually begin a curriculum through Odyssey where, if that was something we agreed to service those students that need more advanced curriculum or above grade level in certain areas, math, reading, that we identify. So again, it's a process. And so that's what we're looking at is putting those processes in place. So right now we've got our legal policy and then our local policy that basically looks at, determining placement within 30 days. And so we have to look at when a student enrolls from a district or based off a recommendation from a teacher or a parent, that we've got 30 days to test that student and determine qualifications if they're GT. And as you can see here too, there's a committee that determines that placement and looks at if this is the best interest for the student. We also have noted here in the local policy that we want to make sure that we contact the parent when looking at the screening of the student, then also following up that it is optional. And so if we get to a situation, a student is GT, and we look at a program that we provide for the student, that's not where we're at this time, then it would be optional for that parent to allow that child to participate. Just kind of like this summer, it was optional for students to participate in the Odyssey Wear classes over the summer.
I'm sorry.
I don't want to. Go ahead.
Dr. Simmons, I have a question. Having students identified as gifted and talented, as well as the other spectrum in special education, can sometimes be touchy. I think it's important that the board be aware of what are the criteria. I know that y'all have not established that yet, and that's fine. You're in the process of selecting the program. Is that correct?
We have selected the assessment.
Okay.
The state has a list of assessments that you can select from to assess students that have been identified either by, again, they're identified by teacher recommendation, they're identified by a parent recommendation, or the child comes to us from a previous district they have already been tested as well.
So I think it's going to be very important that you are very explicit in the selection criteria.
That selection criteria will be board approved. So
right, but I know in this local policy it alludes to that, but it's not in either of these documents.
Okay.
So my thing is I think that it needs to be, once it's decided upon, that needs to go through that. That's also,
Okay.
That can get very nasty.
Mm-hmm.
Just looking historically at districts across the state, and also special ed, to be honest, can get nasty on who is selected and who is included, and that we are making sure that we are not over-identifying people or under-identifying people.
Right.
Incorrect. And it also says, too, that parents, they have an appeal process, so they can appeal if the decision is for us not to.
But I think it's important that the appeal would come to the board. And so my thing is the board needs to know what the criteria are. And so I think that is very important that in the future that is made.
Okay.
I also want to issue a challenge. And do you want me to shut up for right now?
Can we talk just a little bit about your first?
Yes.
What she's saying is, the board has to approve it, and that's written in the policy, in the local policy. It's in the second paragraph. So when they get the criteria developed, you'll bring that to the board.
We'll present that to the board for
approval. So we'll have an opportunity to see that and change whatever we need to change.
Right. I just wanted to make sure that, I know this is the local policy as of right now, but to me it's an incomplete local policy.
Okay.
Because it does not have that selection criteria listed.
Okay.
So you're saying you want to see the criteria in the policy. Is that what you're saying?
If I were a parent, I would want to know what the criteria is.
Okay.
Well, okay. Can the criteria?
See, I don't know if that's supposed to be in the policy or not.
The criteria is not necessarily.
I was going to say, I don't know
part of policy.
In the policy.
No.
My thing is, I think the board needs to be aware of it.
But the criteria is presented to the board to approve based off of the policy.
Right, and I think parents need to be aware of what that is as well.
Okay.
It shouldn't be a mystery that goes to a committee and the magic happens and yes, yay, my kid was selected, or boo, my kid wasn't. I think that's very important.
And that information will be available on the campus, I'm sure.
Yes, and I will, at the next meeting, actually present the criteria for
Okay,
the process.
And I know that, because you clearly said we're not there yet.
No, we're not.
And I just think it's very important to be transparent.
Right.
With parents, that the board needs to know, so that we're not,
If you're going to hear appeal, you should have been able to have say in the actual process. I agree.
Well, I just think we need to know these are the standards. Should I wait for my challenge or no?
No,
Okay.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Texas treats the different spectrums of special education very differently. Other states don't necessarily do that. Texas makes sure the bottom or one end of the spectrum is protected legally. And if you are needing special services because you fall behind, you have legal protections of 504. Other states require gifted students to also receive those legal protections through a 504. Texas doesn't, but it's a good idea, in my opinion, to make sure that gifted children truly receive the services they need. We're an innovation academy, we do things differently. It may be something for the group to consider.
And so they actually monitor their students
Yes, they
through
monitor
a
their
504 process, just like they do a student that needs in need of assistance.
Yeah.
Wow. What states? Florida.
That's a good starting point, but in Florida, gifted students are required to have a 504 just as well as a student who is quote special ed.
Okay.
But legally, all of those services are special ed services.
Yeah, I wasn't familiar with that, but that's interesting to know that they actually.
And so it may be something to consider, and as we're really pushing, moving kids to their best and making sure they're college ready, here's another way to document that's happening. It's just an idea. I'm not married to it, but it's something that would distinguish us in the state.
I think that's
That
important.
might be addressed in the requirements, requirement criteria.
But we actually document those services and things like that. So.
You say you can have it.
The criteria.
Ready at
Yes.
the next, you can have it ready at the next board.
Yeah, I mean, it's just an idea for the Bible.
Okay. Now remember, board members, that the legal policy, of course, is mandated. We have to adopt the legal policy. The local policy is we can alter it in any way we feel fit. That to make it operable for our particular purposes in our district. So we need to be satisfied as much as possible with the local policy. So if you like how it's written, and if you are, we can adopt both of them at the same time with one motion. If not, we're going to have to go through do the legal policy separately from the local
I have a few questions too about following up on the criteria. When you say the criteria, are you saying the actual process for screening students? Are you talking about the specific test? I mean, the test is set by TA. The process talks here about.
What's a cutoff score?
Yeah.
Let's say, what is the selection criteria of the children? If we have a gifted program, this is going to be something that's going to come before us, and we need to have thought about what's the cut score? Who gets selected and who doesn't get selected? What are points that you can earn? It's just not a score on this. Do you earn certain points for this criteria?
Okay.
I mean, it's a very complex thing, but it's going to, it can potentially be a big mess if you look at histories of school boards.
Okay, so basically looking at, it talks about here under the local about the criteria, and it says that it's basically reflects back onto the legal policy, because it talks about the definition of the GT students, and then it talks about the nomination process also in the local policy.
I'm talking about nomination. When the committee comes together, what criteria does the committee use to determine, yes, you're in the gifted program, B, you're not?
Other than the identification.
Right, other than well, every parent thinks their child is brilliant. So of course we're going to nominate.
So when it talks about the assessment tools that are going to be used here, and it talks about the different tests and classroom observations, teacher nominations, student parent conferences, student work products.
So where we need to know what is looked at,
okay,
and how the decision is made.
Okay, so right here under, like, it mentions that under assessment. So what I'm saying is when we look at the criteria, you saying that.
What the board is going to have to know is this decision made equitably for kid A, kid B, kid C, and you're going to have to articulate how it's made so that we can show that, just to throw out some things on, are African Americans recruited into gifted and talented as much? Because we know they're overrepresented in special ed services on the lower spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to come up with criteria that says this is how our committees are going to sit and look at this and make decisions.
I think what correct me if I'm wrong, but I think what she's saying is there has to be some objective type measurement. For example, the assessment, the test. When you give them the test, the score.
There's a score.
She want the score to say you have to score 120 on the test.
And do you have the work products? Because, we don't want it to be a single test.
I think that's what she's saying. She's looking for an
and so that's what I'm saying. The committee has to say, all right, we want to see this score. We want to see some evidence in student work. Because you can be an excellent test taker and be terrible, really.
Mm-hmm.
So are we looking at it holistically? And what are the decisions? What is the committee looking at?
Okay.
So what you're saying that, Colleen, is you're against using a cut score?
I think it's one criteria.
More than a cut score.
I'm saying
But it
using more
says
than
it
a
here.
cut
It says it here as assessment.
Yes, but as long as you do it the same way for every
On
person.
page 2, 1 of
It's your
2,
procedure that you follow.
on the
in
local, it
terms
talks
of-
about all the assessments.
So that's
It's a selection process.
Yeah. They're all there.
It would,
Yeah.
if you just
Then
use the cut score, it will do your math and science.
You
and
can't
this is
say an
academy, that may be
assessment.
all you're interested in.
One assessment.
And so
It
that's,
says it.
that's fine.
But I just think the minute you start using some other subjective measures that outweigh, it's kind of like admissions and graduate.
Well, that's why I said you might want to look at points and those kinds of,
But
there's
then
different
you get
things.
to those grades.
I know,
It says,
but the board is gonna have to end up dealing with these. I mean, when you
Well-
get gifted, when you get other kind of programs, it's gonna come up.
in the
And so
local,
I want us to be ready.
in the local policy under assessments, it says data collected through both objective and subjective assessments shall be measured against the
I read the
criteria.
policies, I'm just saying,
She just wants to know what it actually is.
we just
Okay.
need to not
And-
go in blind, is what I'm telling you.
She's
You
gonna
can't
bring-
just pull it out of your hat
Right,
and
she's gonna,
say, you're in, you're not.
she's gonna bring the criteria to us at the next board meeting. And we'll
Yeah.
have an opportunity.
And I'm sure
to-
you none of us wear hats.
We'll have an opportunity to.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
that-
I just
that
want to make
criteria.
sure that we are thinking about this.
And if you have some sources too, I'd like to look at as well to develop that criteria. I mean, just
Look at
because,
Round Rock ISD.
Okay.
Look at different districts that have very strong gifted programs,
okay,
and they have very strong, they get legally challenged because parents.
okay.
sue.
But those are great
I
sources that
didn't-
I can look at,
didn't-
because I looked at a few and most of them just basically had the local and the legal policy, and so
Well,
I never really
right,
saw.
but my thing is you need to go in deeper and look at their gifted and talented programs and see what are the criteria, how are they measured, how do you get into this program versus this program?
And
But you did make a good point, we are a STEM school, so we need to really think about,
Right,
Yes.
and so what do we
We
want
may
to
not.
consider as gifted?
we may not want to go into realms that we really can't support.
That's right, you may not want to do the gifted arts, so you need to really think about what is gonna be classified as gifted.
Yeah.
So that's very clear to parents.
Okay,
That'll be an interesting study.
Yeah, we'll discuss it later.
Yeah,
Great, great information. It's fantastic. I believe all of it. We all agree with you.
yeah, no,
And
and
she'll bring that, she'll
and
bring
I'm
that
the first
criteria.
to, I'm happy to motion that we accept these policies. I don't have a problem with
Well-
policies. I just want us to think through this.
Before we make a motion, we need the board to be satisfied with the local policy the way it's written and understand that the criteria will be presented at the next board meeting. And we'll have an opportunity to
The
see
way I read the
exactly what that
policy,
is.
it says that whatever the criteria are, they will be followed.
Right.
So I have no problem with policy.
Right. And I'm okay with it.
The way it's written.
Yeah, no, I'm okay with it. We can also always go and change our local policy if needed.
Yeah, as long as it's aligned with the legal,
Right,
yeah,
as
we're
long
fine.
as it's aligned with the legal.
Absolutely.
So I'm fine with the moving forward right now.
Mr. Humphrey, what about you?
I'm fine.
You fine with the, as is?
Yes, yes.
Okay, we need a motion by a board member to accept both the legal and local policies together. So,
I'm happy to make a motion.
second. We have a motion by Dr. Swain, and a second by Mr. Humphrey to accept. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carried. Superintendent's report.
Okay, budget update. Do we have an update on the budget?
Yeah, I am happy to say that we have had offer transactions released to us from PeopleSoft for populating Skyward now and comparing against our translation log. So hopefully by next month, we'll be able to get you some hard numbers. We have identified a few small pots of federal funds that we'll have to come in the budget and add to it. And the good news is we did have a positive balance.
All right.
Yeah, and we also will have to amend the budget next month after we get our forecast for our food service, for our revenue and our expenditures. We didn't put it in our original budget. We didn't really understand how we need to do that, but we have to take care of it next time.
Are we using the same audits that we used last year?
We are, and I did have a conversation with them about the way that they presented their audit to us, and I told them that was unacceptable next time.
Thank you, sir.
The next thing that we want to discuss here is the district enrollment. So board, I provided you with a update on the enrollment, a chart that I just passed out to you. Basically, this was current enrollment as of yesterday. So looking across on each campus, you can see on the Tyler campus, we've broken it down by grade levels. On the Tyler campus, we're at 254, Palestine at 179, and Longview at 132, a total enrollment of 536 for the district. And Becky just said that 565, and Becky just said she'll be 182 on Monday. So she's recruiting as we speak. So we're short of our 600 goal, and so we're continuing to recruit. As you can see, we have identified, as each director knows, what classes that they've had. They have openings in, and so as we receive students and interested families, if we have openings in those areas, we're transitioning those students to enroll them. And so looking at the district attendance rate, right now as a district, we're at a little over 97% at the district, and then you can see how each campus is broken down into, and that is their attendance percentage.
What were the numbers we used in the budget?
600 for the budgeted 600.
But percentage.
And then-
Our budget was 560.
That's what we reported, but our goal was 600, right?
Our goal is 600.
Okay.
575 attendance rate. What was the
97%.
97?
If last year is any indication, we should pick up some kids during the year, because about 140.
So we're continuing to enroll and look at areas on each campus. So each director knows exactly where they have openings, as well as their admins. As they're receiving those calls, they're able to transition those students into the system. So I wanted to provide the board with that information as we continue to look at enrollment. The next thing is board training. TA requires board members to complete training, and so we have contracted with the Texas Charter School Association, and I am waiting on confirmation. I have sent you that tentative date. And I do apologize. I'm just waiting to hear from them. Part of the process is that we are joining the Texas Charter School Association. And so part of the process for them to actually confirm the date, they have to receive our membership in order for them to confirm. So tentatively, that date is sitting there on their calendar, showing that they're going to be serving us a full day here. And also the directors will be participating as well, but they will not confirm it with me until they actually, we work through the process of membership. So that is, we're working through that now. And so just wanted to note that that is an all-day training that they will come in and talk to us about everything from policies and procedures and processes for serving on the board and as an administrator.
And they understand the difference between a open charter and then the nuances of the university.
Yes, they work with both. And so then also the next item is the Texas Charter School Association School Conference. I did send an invite to the board members if you're interested in attending that. I've heard back from some of you. If not, just again, that is an opportunity for you to go and hear from other charter schools and listen to other presentations. They do have some board specific workshops that you can participate in as well. And so just wanted to open that invitation to all the board members.
That's in Houston.
Correct.
December.
Yes, that is held December the 10th through the 12th. Dr. Vaughn asked if that was in Houston, and that's correct. The next item is the process for electing the Longview board member. Board, I've sent you a letter that went out to all of our Longview parents through email. There is a process noted on the letter that basically states to the parents that they have an opportunity. They send us some general information to inform us that they are interested in serving on the board. Mr. Humphrey provided me with a review of what they did in the past to serve on the board. And so basically, with board approval, I'd like to, kind of follow that same process. As a parent, he went through the process, and I think it was after reading his summary, I found it very beneficial. But basically, once we get the interested candidates, we will follow up with them and ask them to write a short review of why they want to serve on the board so that we can post that for parents to read. I think that's a lot more beneficial than just a name on a ballot. And Mr. Humphrey said, oftentimes that's time consuming. And so, that will tell us that that person's really committed, because we know being on the board it's time. It takes time to come and serve and to work with your community as well. So again, we are working through that process. We do have a deadline for parents to submit, and we will be, I think I've got that deadline here. The deadline for them to submit is September the 29th. We will then follow up with all those parents and request that information, and then pull together that information to get a ballot out to parents. Now, my understanding, does just the Longview parents vote for that parent representative, not the Palestine, or it's not all members? Is that correct? Okay.
Sure.
Okay, just that community. That's what I wanted to confirm. So, again, I just wanted to let the board know that we have pursued that, and that information is out to parents. So, any questions about that? All right, at this time, directors, I'd like for you to give the board an update on things that are happening on your campus, and anything that you'd like to address as well. Mr. Burns?
Okay. We've had a very smooth start to our school year. We've had a parent meeting last Tuesday. We had a huge group of parents come, and I got a lot of positive feedback based on some of the things we put in place. The biggest being Haiku Learning, the new learning management system that we're using with our kids. We kind of walk the parents through that process, and they feel a lot better about what they need to do from that standpoint on, as far as monitoring their students and their grades and everything else on the campus. Parents that have been around for the first all 3 years have told me, several parents have said this has been the smoothest start to a school year since the school opened. So we're real happy about that. And kids still are really excited. They're getting ready to wrap up their first PBL right now. Get started on their second, so they're already going at it pretty hard. And we're hoping to see lots of good results when we start doing our benchmarks and CBAs and all of that. It's been a great first 3.5 weeks.
I think you had a visitor.
We did. We had Senator John Cornyn on our campus too, and I got an email from his assistant, and then we got an email from somebody in the senator's office saying that it was a great trip. But his assistant said anytime he takes out his own camera and takes a selfie with kids means he was enjoying his stay. So he was out the door, and then he turned back around and took a picture. But it was very good. I thought it was a very good visit.
I bet your kids did
I did
fabulous.
too. I was very pleased.
I was telling Dr. Swain, and they really pretty much just showed up. I mean, they were themselves. We didn't do a lot of prep. I talked to them about it the day before, just so the parents would know to get them there at that time because it was after school. And they kind of showed up on their own and did that really without any preparation or coaching or anything like that. So, and it was kind of a wide range of our kids too. So we didn't just pick, the best of the best and that kind of thing. So it was
The kids actually did the tour, not us. So
I think I said hello, Senator, and that was it. Mine was another word.
I thought it was cute. The student used the acronym PBL, and the senator just kind of looked at him like, "What is PBL?" And he's like, "What do you mean you don't know what PBL is?" So it was a cute moment.
And he taught a little history lesson.
Mm-hmm.
he did.
So that was.
They talked about the student government. And, I don't remember the whole conversation because I was chasing down media people, but
No, it was a really positive experience. So the kids did a fantastic job.
Miss Ladine?
Well, we had a parent meeting in Longview on Tuesday as well. We also had the opportunity to roll out haiku learning with the parents. We're excited about that because we think it will improve our communication. It'll be a one-stop shop for the parents so that they're able to get grading information and PBL information, as well as just other communications from the school. So we think that's going to streamline things for us and help us in an area where we know that we need to improve. That would be parent communication. In addition, across the district, we rolled out at-home learning contracts. So we're hopeful that those will help us stay connected with the parents in that way so that we're sure that the parents understand what's expected of them and their children in the afternoons. This year we're using flipped much more appropriately. So we're using flipped instruction in the afternoons with our students, the way that it was intended to be used so that the kids are getting new learning in the afternoon through flipped, and then in the classroom they're doing more application and synthesis type things. So we think that that will help us improve our depth of knowledge that we're seeing from the kids in that area as well. Our 6th, 7th, and 8th graders are pretty excited right now. Their teachers have been in contact with NASA, and they have an astrophysicist and a jet propulsion specialist that will work with them in their PBL. So they've been able to get those people to work as specialists with the kids throughout the PBL, giving advice and Skyping in 2 or 3 times during the PBL. So that's really something that we've been shooting for on our campus, to give the kids this feeling that they're working with specialists and experts in the field, and that's an ongoing relationship instead of something that happens at the end of the PBL. So we're excited about that.
but you also have a 70,000 square foot.
I do. I have the nicest mobile home. I do. We're in the building now. The setup is really nice. Y'all have the opportunity to see that in October, but the design is such that we're able to keep our younger kids in one wing and then our older students in another wing. We think that that's a good situation for the kids because it helps us instructionally as well. So we're pretty excited about that.
And the influential community member also pointed out that the building was beautiful. And we're very pleased about that.
It's good news.
That is very good news.
Ms. Rutledge?
I can say the same things that they said about the programs that we're rolling out, and we feel like instruction in the classroom is definitely at a higher level of curriculum. And we got a lot of support from the district, from the curriculum team, and helping us to ensure it's implemented with fidelity. And administratively, we've made some changes. Dr. Simmons and I have worked together to rearrange the schedule somewhat so we can split up some of our classes that are larger, and which does allow for additional enrollment, which will help our budget. And we also have the addition now of the ACE program on our campus, which is an Ingenuity Center project coming from University Academy. It's an after-school grant program, so our students now are able to be a part of the after-school program free of charge. So it's all funded through the grant, and that's a great program for our community because we do have several low-income families that need a program like that and need access to internet in the afternoons and access to people to help them stay on track with their home labs. And I think that's going to really help not only academics on our campus, but also the parent connection to provide that service for the students. So I appreciate the opportunity to be able to get that after school program on our campus as well.
Well, as I noted in the board bulletin, I was definitely pleased with the parent turnouts, and the directors, put the parents through it. I provided them an opportunity to explore things, and I think that just the workshop for parents on haiku learning was they walked away feeling a lot more confident that they could go in and access their child's grades and access their child's assignments, and be able to get that necessary information to support their child. And I also want to say that I had a chance to sit in. Becky actually had a couple of our teachers conduct sessions, and they really stressed the importance to the parents that at-home learning is not homework. That at-home learning is part of the school day. It is a commitment on the teacher's end to make sure the assignments are there. It's a commitment on the student's end to make sure that they complete the assignments and they're prepared for the very next day of instruction. And then the commitment on the parent's end to make sure the child's provided the time and the opportunity to do the assignment. So it was very well spelled out on her campus about the expectation of that moving forward, and that again, that it's not a homework assignment. It's not just an extension of the day. It is part of our school day. So great job to the directors for advertising that. One thing we are utilizing now is a call system that we're getting a lot of feedback from parents on, is that we can record a message and send that out to parents to let them know, from everything to a school closure to an update of an assignment that's due, also informing them of the parent meeting. So we're really excited about that. Each director's been trained on that, so that's something they can centrally manage from their end and make sure that we're communicating to parents, because that was one big thing that we heard from parents last year, is the lack of communication from everything from the operational side to the academic side. So I think that's a charge that all of us on moving forward to ensure that parents are pleased with our communication. And so I think those are definitely things that we're addressing, and that I think we're seeing some progress in. At this time, I don't have any other things to report to the board.
Board, do the
Any
board members have
questions?
any administrative issues?
I just want to mention one thing. Ms. Peterson couldn't be here today.
That Friday.
Oh, right.
Friday, if she doesn't have the baby by Friday, then we will have a baby.
Over the next couple of months, though, we really have to roll out the design of the high school. It's probably going to have to be a little tweaked to get all the credits in that the students have to do. And plus, a lot of parents now that we have eighth graders are saying, what's high school going to be like next year? And so I just bring that to your attention, because that is going to be a very important next step. And that it packs things like UIL, which we've had parents that want their kids involved in UIL, but we don't have a high school, so we can't be involved in UIL until we have a high school. And then, so there's just there's going to be a big amount of work that's coming up, and I just want to bring that, make you aware. But we probably need to have a plan that we can release fairly quickly, so parents know what high school is going to be like.
We can't discuss personnel right now because we're not in executive session. But since it is an administrative issue, we still have an interim superintendent, and I was going to ask the board if we need to revisit this issue in executive session at the next board meeting.
I think that would be appropriate.
So can you see that it goes on the agenda?
Yes.
Next board meeting, executive session.
Okay.
Anything else? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So moved, second.
I think that's where we're.
Everybody, unanimous. Unanimous. We need to finalize this. Interim position. We just, you're interim superintendent. We either need to name the superintendent or find somebody to do something. So in the next agenda, under executive session, put revisit the interim superintendent position.
Okay.
Revisit the. Find out how you want to say it again.
Superintendency vacancy or interim.
Right now, you named interim superintendent.
Yes, that's right.
We need to either make you superintendent
Okay.
or search.
Okay. So I'll say revisit
So
this.
revisit
Okay.
the superintendent's position
Okay.
to finalize it or something. Because I think you're good. I think you're okay. I think we need to just finalize.
Well,
But
thank you. I
at
look
least
forward
we'll have an opportunity to revisit it in executive session.
Okay, sounds great. I'll get it on there. All right, thank you so much. You don't want any part of this, do you? Not sign it yet.
I will audible.
And you were great to tell the work. Yes. I don't know
What was our budget issue?
We had September 2. January last year, we did roll.
Oh, is this where it has to hold furniture?
Sometimes it's good stuff there, right?
That's what we got all our house this year.
Some of the furniture you got is good.